So we've seen this move to the downside play out on XRP, following on from my previous update where I mentioned I was looking out for a 5-wave structure to form this 5th wave. But here you can see that we ended up extending beyond this key level, as you can see over here. And as a result, that then invalidated this structure. And so it looks like we are still within a corrective move to the downside to form this 4th wave. And yeah, shortly after, we'll be looking out for that reversal where we can then begin to track the wave 5. And so what I'm looking at for right now is for a bigger WXY structure to form this 4th wave. And it looks like this X wave was made up of a WXY structure as opposed to us bottoming out at this level. And then we saw that reversal to the upside where we can then begin to track the wave 5 made up of 5 waves. So if I remove this, and essentially if I draw this in, what I'm looking at for is for this structure to play out to form this 4th wave. And so what I'll do is I'll drop down to the hourly chart to check to see what has taken place within this recent move. So if I drop down to the hourly chart, and yeah, so here it looks like we had a corrective move that played out made up of a WXY structure, like so, which is a good sign because if this was made up of 5 waves, then that would mean that we are ultra bearish and we can see a deeper move to the downside. And so if I bring the fib tool just to check to see if this Y wave met the typical range, and if I bring this to $3.34.75, so yeah, here you can see that we ended up tapping into that range where we ended up bottoming out at $3.15.21 to complete this Y wave. And then shortly after, we saw this corrective move play out, followed by another push to the downside. And so, yeah, what I'm looking at for right now is for a bigger WXY structure. So if I adjust this and bring this to over here, and if I bring in the fib tool once again, so here we ended up topping off at $3.33.42. And so, yeah, here you can see that we ended up tapping into that range once again to form this Y wave where we ended up reaching $3.10.41. And then if I zoom out, we had this corrective move that played out also, followed by another push to the downside. And so again, I'm looking at for a bigger WXY structure, where this structure here formed the W wave, this formed the X wave, and this formed the Y wave. So if I remove this and bring in the fib tool once again, and bring this to the local top at $3.35.12. And so, yeah, here we just about extended beyond the 1.236 level to form this Y wave, but we failed to retrace towards this level here, which tells me that this is just a corrective move rather than an impulsive move. And so if I remove this now, and what I'm looking at for is for this WXY structure to form the W wave, and for this corrective move to form the X wave, and it's possible that we are now within this Y wave. And so if I remove this and bring in the fib tool once again, and bring this to the local top, where we ended up reaching $3.15.6. And so the Y wave would typically reach anywhere between 1 to 1.226, and that region sits between $2.71.14 to $2.79.11. And so there is still a little bit more room to the downside for XRP, and it will be interesting to see if we actually breach past this level here at $2.72.8, which is possible to do so. And yeah, if we do so, that would then result in a breakout structure, which would then further confirm this bearish trend that we've been on since July the 18th. And so, yeah, what I'd do is check to see if we do tap into this region, the Y wave would meet the minimum requirement, which is the 61.8% retest level, because usually the Y wave could actually extend beyond the local bottom. of the W wave and retrace towards the 100 to 123.6% retrace level. So if I go on the 4-hour chart and bring in the Fib tool and bring this to $3.38.25. And so typically the Y wave would reach anywhere between 1 to 1.226. And so we could go even deeper towards this range here. But if we were to tap into this region, you can see that we would extend beyond the minimum requirement. And so it's possible that the Y wave could truncate and not tapping into this region, and we then see that reversal to your upside. And so this is going to be the next key target for XRP. If we extend beyond this region, then of course this will be the next key target. However, if we find support within this region, then it's possible that we just had a double bottom setup, and that would then form this fourth wave, and then we set that reversal to the upside to form the fifth wave. And you can see that on the 4-hour chart, we are within the oversold conditions, and on the 8-hour chart, we are within the oversold conditions, and on a daily chart, we are also within the oversold conditions. And so at some point, I will be looking out for a reversal. I'm looking out for XRP to find support within this region and then see that reversal. But of course, it is still possible that we go slightly deeper towards this range here. And you can also see that the 200 DMA actually sits within this range. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see a deeper move towards this region. We find support at the 200 DMA, and then we see that reversal. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days to come, and I'll keep you guys updated. And so, yeah, that's just my update on XRP. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit the like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.